Remember that racist LGBT people that work for corporations, the military, and the law enforcement agencies we have here in America are changing my voice. And they're doing it for the governing class so that they can pretend that their genes are magically superior. Job 13. Again, this is my official stance on the cloud in the Bible. I think we're on part 5 here. Job 13. Why do you hide your face and consider me your enemy? Will you torment a wind-blown leaf? Will you chase after dry chaff? So again, the wind, the storm, has caused this person to have hardship, their soul, their being, okay? And in Job's case, he can recover, right? It's a lot of it's just in his head. He doesn't know what's going on. But at the end of the Bible, that's not the case. They're actually cut off from God, them and their offspring. Job 15. Now this part is key here. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied, would a wise person answer with empty notions or fill their belly with the hot east wind? So again, it's being used figuratively. You see how time and time and time again, the clouds, the wind, the storm, they're being used figuratively. So we have to believe that the argument is a martial arts argument, and it's figurative and spiritual. It's not, kung fu or karate or anything like this. It's not Eastern martial arts. It's not any other martial arts other than Royal African Falcon martial arts. And the Bible makes that clear in Genesis 10. It says, Nimrod was the first mighty warrior, mighty hunter before the Lord. Nimrod. And it goes over it twice. It says he's a mighty hunter. He's a mighty warrior. He's a mighty hunter before the Lord. The first mighty warrior. We see the different translations. And we see the racist rabbinical translations or whatever scribes were translating, where they try to make it seem like he was bad. But the vast majority of interpretations aren't that, which kind of goes, with society and popular culture, where people argue that in popular culture, that something like 10% of people are racist or something. So you get some kind of like 10% of interpretations are racist against Nimrod, right? It's kind of the most extreme of the Bible crowd, which tends to be a racist crowd, not just conservatives, okay? Certainly where it matters most in terms of the Spirit of God, that they are extremely racist. They can't hold it in, and so they translated that wrong, okay? So again, would a wise person answer with empty notions or fill their belly with the hot east wind? Would they argue with useless words, with speeches that have no value? But you even undermine piety and hinder devotion to God. Verse 12, going down to verse 20. All his days the wicked man suffers torment, the ruthless man through all the years stored up for him. Because part of what Job is complaining about is that there's wicked people everywhere, and he's the one that God killed his family, took his stuff, and so on and so forth. God allowed for these plagues to fall on him. And he's asking God why. And these plagues, first and foremost, I think the most appropriate interpretation is that they're figurative. But that's a story for another day. So it doesn't really matter if they're figurative or not. That's not the scope of this video series. It is, all I have to prove in this video series is that the cloud that Christ is a character in the story and comes on at the end of the Bible is figurative, and it refers to the actual martial arts Spirit of God that God expressed in martial arts, right? God didn't set apart people, as scientists. It says in John, to whom has the arm of the Lord been, who has the Lord revealed his arm to, right? Who has the arm of the Lord been revealed to? And to who has believed our message in time to come? He's citing Isaiah, I believe it is, in John, and they're making it clear that it's a martial art order, right? So who is the top martial arts, right? Who truly understands the martial art argument? Not a scientist, not a priest, not some gay guy, not people persecuting me, not police, not military, right? It is a Royal African Falcon martial arts, right? Soul brother, mind, body, soul, and spirit, soul brother, okay? It's hidden in plain view why the Western racists laugh at you and say, oh, I'm sure it must be one white guy, and they laugh at you and abuse your kids and so on and so forth. Okay. Terrifying sounds fill his ears. When all seems well, marauders attack him. He despairs of escaping the realm of darkness. He is marked for the sword. Again, mark of the beast. Okay, Nimrod is a hunter and a warrior is how Genesis 10 describes him in verses that are consecutive, if I remember correctly. Okay, and it says he despairs of escaping the realm of darkness. He is marked for the sword, right? He's an enemy of God. He wanders about for food like a vulture. He knows the day of darkness is at hand. Distress and anguish fill him with terror. Troubles overwhelm him like a king poised to attack. Because he shakes his fist at God, right? The principles of God, the Spirit of God, and vaunts himself against the Almighty, defiantly charging against him with a thick, strong shield. Though his face is covered with fat and his waist bulges with flesh, which shows you that it is not a big, strong guy like Mike Tyson or Ali, who's the ideal, right? It is a certain surgical striking, right? Surgical sword of Scripture, sharp sword of Scripture, double-edged sword of Scripture. Okay, so it says, though his face is covered with fat and his waist bulges with flesh, who? Okay, the wicked man. He will inhabit ruined towns and houses where no one lives, houses crumbling to rubble. He will no longer be rich, and his wealth will not endure, nor will his possessions spread over the land. Again, just because you're a big person doesn't mean you can't obey God through me and be good, right? But you can't be the top martial artist ever possible. The Bible makes it crystal clear. It's disgraceful for them to pretend that because they're in the military, they should propound a bigger shape. That's despicable. That's horrible. It's called to the flesh rubbish. Racist. Shame on you people. He will not escape the darkness. A flame will wither his shoots. The breath of God's mouth will carry him away. Let him not deceive himself by trusting what is worthless, for he will get nothing in return. Before his time he will wither, and his branches will not flourish. He will be like a vine stripped of its unripe grapes, like an olive tree shedding its blossoms, for the company of the godless will be barren. So if you're like, I'm going to take the godless, then she's a barren female. You know, she's the walking dead. She's brain dead. She's soul dead. She's not worth dating and marrying and having kids with. Because for the company, write this down, Job 15:34, for the company of the godless will be barren, and fire will consume the tents of those who love bribes. I want, a girl's got to eat. Oh, I'm going to the realm of the dead. Right, it's stupid. They conceive trouble and give birth to evil. Their wombs fashion deceit. No bad tree can bear good fruit, and all trees that don't obey God through me are bad. Okay, so Job 16, verse 12. All was well with me, but he shattered me. He seized me by the neck and crushed me. He has made me his target. His archers surround me without pity. He pierces my kidneys and spills my gall on the ground. Again and again he bursts upon me. He rushes at me like a warrior, not like a scientist, not like a teacher, not like an LGBT mentor, not like a priest, but like a warrior. Exodus 15:3, the Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name. And not just any warrior, because sometimes the word warrior is used in a negative context, like in Proverbs. It is a morally precise warrior that God's Spirit is, and it's reflected through me. That's why they change my voice. That's why they change my pictures and my video image in every video, because I'm Christ. And they've also started changing other people's videos and pictures at some point, right? They started changing rather at some point. Okay. So again, here in Job 16, verse 13, makes it clear God's a warrior. We see that the problem here, the core problem, is this person, by their actions, is doing something that's tantamount, right, equivalent to shaking their fist at God. We see that in Job 15, verse 25. Because he shakes his fist at God and vaunts himself against the Almighty, defiantly charging against him with his thick, strong shield. So it's saying, whose side are you on? Are you in the Royal African Falcon Martial Order? Or are you some racist Jew who's like, no, it's our book. It's our book. We took over the world. It's our book. Okay, so what are you doing? What side are you on? Are you against God and I because you're lost your mind? Then at least stop having kids and stop teaching your kids to follow you. Think. Be responsible. Verse 15, I have sewed sackcloth over my skin and buried my brow in the dust. My face is red with weeping. Dark shadows ring my eyes, yet my hands have been free of violence and my prayer is pure. Unlike people who don't obey God through me. Job 19:11. His anger bursts against me. He counts me among his enemies. His troops advance in force. They build a siege ramp against me and encamp around my tent. He has alienated my family from me. My acquaintances are completely estranged from me. My relatives have gone away. My closest friends have forgotten me. My guests and my female servants count me a foreigner. They look on me as on a stranger. So he goes on and on about the storm of the Lord and God's warrior spirit being against him. At least he believes that's what's occurring.